I am from I am from a wet, hot climate near the mountains, from our clubs called Agakomo and Tashiki. I am from Christmas and New Year celebration, from climbing and falling from a mango tree and picking fruits from orange trees, from Charles, Fidel, and Cyprian, from the funniest and kindest family. I am from Nigeria movies and the song Yes Umbere Maso, from Congo, Rwanda, and Arizona. I am from potatoes and spaghetti, from being cute and pretty, from Christianity and going to church and celebrating Easter. I am from Congo, fufu, fish, and soccer, from a funny and friendly Gama. I am 19 years of happiness and laughter.
Neha Tamang. Neha was born in Nepal in 2014. She came to America with her mom, 5 sisters, and 1 brother. She has 8 members in her family. She is a freshman at Fargo South High School, and she speaks 2 languages, Nepali and English. She loves playing soccer. Her hobbies are to dance and spend time with her family and friends. Her favorite subject is Spanish. In the future, she wants to become a fashion designer. Neha.
Okay. Starting a new chapter. I was so sick that my mom didn't think that I would make it to Fargo. The plane smelled strange and unfamiliar. As the beautiful flight attendants passed by, she asked me what I wanted to eat. All I could do was quickly shake my head. I couldn't even think about eating because the smell was making me so sick. My older brother was also on the plane. The lovely flight attendants gave my brother a wet tissue to wash his face, but he didn't know what it was, so he started to eat it. I still make fun of him for that. We finally made it to Fargo, North Dakota on October 26, 2011. My beautiful sister was so tired and confused that she thought we had to go on another plane to get to Fargo. My aunt was excitedly waiting for us at the airport when we arrived. There was a kind social worker from Lutheran Social Services, and she did some paperwork with my mom and my sisters. Ghar ma jao ra khana khao, my aunt said. When we walked out of the small airport, the first thing I saw were brilliant colored leaves falling down, and I felt the cold wind against my skin. I couldn't believe how cold it was compared to my former life. I turned to my cousin and asked, why it is so extremely cold? This is just what happened at this time of the year, and soon there will be snow, he said. What is snow? I asked. My cousin explained me what it was, but I still had no idea until I saw it for the first time. When I finally saw the white snow, I liked it, but it was awfully cold. When I came to the United States, I was only 7 years old, so I started school in 2nd grade. My first day of school was tough because I got lost, but one of the teachers helped me find my class. The classrooms were different compared to back in Nepal. In Nepal, we had to sit on the floor, but in the US, we got to sit at our own desks. Classes in America are half the size of classes in Nepal. We also didn't have whiteboards in Nepal like we do in America. The first day of school was insanely stressful for me because of all the differences. I was so nervous. I had a tough time figuring out what my teacher was saying, and it was hard to make new friends because of the new language. Getting back to my apartment was a challenging too. Malai mero bus khojnu cha, I told my cousin. She helped me for a couple of days. Our lifestyle in America was very different compared to back in Nepal. When I first saw our apartment, it had a big and clean room with its own bathroom. Back in Nepal, we had to walk out of the house to use the restroom. The houses in Nepal were made out of bamboo and stone. We didn't have a stove like we do in America. We had to make our own stuff from mud. We had to use a stick to light the fire to cook food. We didn't have electricity, so that meant we didn't have a TV either. It was extremely hard for my family to get used to the time and the weather. We had a lot of difficulties when there was bad weather in Nepal. Some of the house roofs were not strong enough to deal with the bad weather. When there was a strong storm, the roofs would fly away. In Nepal, we never had to heat the house to stay warm because it never got very cold. The time change was also difficult to get used to. When it was day in Nepal, when it was day in US, it was night in Nepal. My family faced a lot of hardship when we were new in the United States. We didn't have many relatives in Fargo. It was incredibly hard for us because we also didn't have our own transportation. My family didn't know much English, so we had a hard time understanding what people were saying. At that time, there weren't many Nepali people around. There was no one who could help us. We lived far away from my aunt, so we couldn't get much help from her. To be continued.
Okay, so we got done a little fast, but we're not done yet. I have one of my biggest cheerleaders here. She is my 7-year-old daughter, and she has watched me year after year put together this project and talk about it at home and talk about all my students. And she wanted to write her own story, and she's actually an immigrant as well, and came here to the United States in 2012 from Ecuador. When I was teaching in Ecuador, she was born there, obviously, so we came together. So she wanted to share her story that she wrote based on what she heard about my students. So she's going to do that now. And just to introduce her, like I said, she came to the United States in 2012 when she was 1 year old. She loves to dance, and she loves science. Her name is Samara Angelica Casares Jelke, and she wants to become a scientist and an ice dancer in the future. Samara. You good?
Yeah. Okay, nice and loud. El Camino a Fargo. I was crying on the plane. I was only 1 year old, and I was flying to America. I was born in Ecuador. My mom is American, and my dad is Ecuadorian. In Ecuador, there are lots of volcanoes. There's also the Amazon jungle and the Andes Mountains. I visited both when I was little. In Ecuador, it's usually 75 degrees Fahrenheit. I like that weather better than Fargo's. In Ecuador, people eat a lot of chicken and rice. They also eat something that's called ceviche. Ceviche is cold soup that has shrimp or fish in it. I don't really like it, but my parents do. Ecuador, when I was 5, I went back to Ecuador to visit. When I visited, I went to the beach and I tasted shark meat for the very first time. But I didn't really like it. I really like living in Fargo, but sometimes I miss Ecuador, especially the weather. To be continued.
So that concludes our reading. I did want to mention, I know some people had come in kind of in the middle. The paintings on the side are paintings that the students did at the Plains Art Museum depicting a scene from their story. So you guys can go ahead and take a look at that. Also, all the books out are free to take. We have about 700 that were published this year that we're giving out, and we're sending them to every state in the United States to a teacher there, as well as legislators, specific legislators and people in our government, and those NDSU students who were so amazing helping us in our classrooms too. We hope they get one as well. I wanted to say thank you so much to Stacy Duffield for helping organize this. She was actually my advisor when I was here at NDSU, and she is amazing, as well as Mike, who's filming it here for the Fargo Public School District, and Mandy Manning, of course, who is our special guest today, who came in all the way from Washington, despite the bad weather and the plane problems. And we just want to say thank you so much for what you do. And the biggest thank you that I want to say is to my amazing students. You guys make me so proud. You did amazing today, and I'm so proud to be your teacher.